Sofian Amrabat hands in transfer request, hoping to push through a 12 million deal to Manchester United this week. Mason Greenwood says yes to Marseille, plus updates on Lindelof, Maguire and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. These are some of the stories we will be discussing on today's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Currently, only 50% of people who watch our videos are subscribed. So if you're one of those who isn't currently subscribed, make sure you get involved. It's the best way to keep up to date with all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Right. Okay, let's get straight on into this then, shall we? So before we talk about Sofian Amrabat, I want you to let me know, should Manchester United sign Sofian Amrabat for £12 million? That is what Fiorentina are asking for. Let me know in the comments section below. I will circle back to the question in a couple of minutes' time, and I will give you my answer. So make sure you get your thoughts in. And let's start by talking about Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. So we've had a fresh update from Samuel Luckhurst from the Manchester Evening News, saying that with Lindelof expected to leave the club this summer, Manchester United would then sign 2 centre-backs. Okay, obviously we've had all of this debate today about whether we'll sign Lenny Yoro, whether we'll sign De Ligt, and David Ornstein had said that we'll only be signing one or the other. Obviously, that's as it stands. If Lindelof leaves, we will need to sign another player. As it stands, Lindelof is in negotiations with Fenerbahce, apparently. Jose Mourinho is, of course, the new Fenerbahce manager. And Manchester United are reportedly interested in signing Ferdi Kadioglu, who is the Turkish left-back, who obviously plays for Fenerbahce. So Victor Lindelof, with 1 year left of his contract, looks like he will be heading for the exit door. But Harry Maguire, Samuel Luckhurst is saying that apparently Harry Maguire's place is more secure at Manchester United, and that Manchester United would be willing to give him a 1 year contract extension if he stays at the club beyond this summer. I would personally get rid of both of them, I think. Harry Maguire's 30, 31 now? He's on 200k a week. He's not a bad player. I just don't think he is the right player for what Erik ten Hag wants to try and achieve, footballing-wise. You can't play a high line with Harry Maguire because he's too slow. He's good physically, he's good on the ball, he's good at heading, but he's just incredibly slow. If he was fast, he would be one of the best centre-backs in the world, genuinely, I think. But his pace just lets him down massively. He's so slow, and pretty much any striker or attacker can just get past him because of his inability to be able to catch up with them. But I kind of understand why Manchester United would keep him, because he'll be a lot harder to sell. He's on big wages, whereas Lindelof's on about 100k a week. 100k a week versus 200k a week is massive. It's like, £5 or £6 million a year difference in wages. So I can kind of understand why, Man United are more pushing for Lindelof to leave, because he is obviously more in demand. He's younger, he's the captain of the Swedish national team, and he could go to Fenerbahce and probably do an amazing job. So I do get it, but it is still a little bit frustrating. And if I was Dan Ashworth, I would be trying to get rid of Maguire and Lindelof, but I'm sure they're having these conversations saying, it's just not realistic. Who's going to buy Maguire? West Ham don't want him. They've just signed a new centre-back. Everton is maybe another option. You could see him going playing for Sean Dyche and doing a good job there. But again, do they even want him? If Jared Branthwaite stays, why would they sign Harry Maguire? So there's lots of if, buts and maybes with Maguire. But moving over to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, the headline this afternoon coming out from Gazette dello Sport is that apparently AC Milan have approached Manchester United for a deal for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It says that they were originally looking at Tottenham Hotspur's Emerson Royale, but they feel like his valuation is too high, so they're now exploring alternative options. I mean, if Aaron Wan-Bissaka got a move to AC Milan, that would be incredible for him, wouldn't it? For his career. He's still relatively young, remember. He's only 26. He is a very good defensive right-back, and AC Milan have identified him as an alternative to Emerson Royale. Tottenham rejected a bid of 10 million euros for Emerson Royale. I mean, as soon as I read that bit out, it kind of just kills this story for me. They've offered 10 million euros for that's effectively how much they want to spend. 10 million euros, AC Milan, right? That's what they offered for Emerson Royale. They said no. Tottenham are apparently asking for 20 million euros, and AC Milan aren't willing to pay that. So we're realistically probably, at best case scenario, going to get a bid of 10 to 15 million euros from AC Milan, which, let's be honest, is lowballing for a player of Aaron Wan-Bissaka's quality. He is a 20, 30 million pound player minimum, I think. I know he only has 1 year left of his contract, but he is a very, very good defensive right back, isn't he? I think we can all agree on that. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But it looks like AC Milan are going to try and put in another attempt to sign Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But I just think the amount of money they're offering is just not going to be enough. So I don't think that one will go through. But obviously it's a news show, so I'm bringing you guys the news. Moving on from that though, let's talk a little bit about Mason Greenwood. So the update on Mason Greenwood, which is literally just broken in the last kind of 2 or 3 minutes from a very, very reliable French journalist, is that apparently Mason Greenwood has now said yes to Marseille. Obviously we were waiting for the personal terms to be agreed. They had all of that stuff going on with the mayor of Marseille saying that, he wasn't welcome in the city and all of this stuff. That seems to have now been overcome, and Mason Greenwood looks set to join Marseille. The deal, as we know, was already agreed last week with the club. They already accepted an offer, so there's nothing to agree between Man United and Marseille. They've accepted their bid, £26.7 million, which is about 30 million euros. There is also a 50% sell-on clause, and there is also apparently add-ons included in the deal as well. So I think that's decent. I'm happy with that. 30 million euros for Greenwood. I don't think it's terrible. Is it good? Maybe not, but I think it's a fair amount of money, and I can't really complain about it. But you can let me know what you think. 30 million euros. Mason Greenwood has said yes to Marseille, so we should get medical pictures of him in the shirt and stuff probably in the next few days. He's not in training. He's waiting in Manchester to be told where he's going. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Okay, let's move over to Jadon Sancho quickly, because apparently Manchester United are now considering keeping Jadon Sancho this season. Obviously, he's back in training. He's back available for first team selection. What does everybody think about that? Now that the dust has settled a bit, how does everyone feel about the the Jadon Sancho situation? Like, are you okay with it now? Are you still unhappy? Let me know. I would rather sell him. That's always been my take. But if there's no one willing to buy, then it's all good and well me saying I would rather sell him. But if no one's offering the money that we want, then you don't really have an option to sell him, do you? All the options we had were loan deals from teams like Juventus and Dortmund. Another loan deal. And they expected us to cover half of his salary, which to me seems stupid. You spend £73 million on a player. He comes in, he underperforms, he turns up late for training, he calls out the manager, accuses him of lying, all these other crazy things. You give him his dream move back to Dortmund, you pay him half of his wages, you bring him back, and then you let him go off on loan again. I actually feel like that's worse than bringing him back. I feel like bringing him back is probably the better option than loaning him out again. But Samuel Luckhurst has been talking about the matter this afternoon, and he says Jadon Sancho should never play for Manchester United again. He accused the manager of lying, and there is no indication that he actually apologised. So apparently he hasn't apologised. He's just had clear the air talks with Erik ten Hag. And it goes on to say that no player will survive under that if it was Alex Ferguson, Sir Alex Ferguson. Because there were some people saying that he had apologised, but this story from Samuel Luckhurst this morning is saying he hasn't apologised. They've just kind of agreed to leave it and stop the feud. Yeah, let me know what you think about that one. I've already said my piece on that. Let's move over to Sofyan Amrabat. And everyone who's still watching the video, if you have enjoyed it, please make sure to smash a like and subscribe to the channel. I would really, really appreciate that. And in relation to Sofyan Amrabat, so this story broke literally in the last couple of minutes, that apparently Sofyan Amrabat has now handed in a transfer request at Fiorentina. Apparently he's not even training with the rest of the team at the moment. He's just completely away from the first team. He's not training. He wants to move to Manchester United. He's trying to push through that deal. Fiorentina have asked for £12 million. Obviously, I asked you at the beginning of the video, should United sign Amrabat for £12 million? We are expected to get an either way answer this week on whether we'll do this deal. Fabrizio reported that over the weekend, that this week will be really, really important for Sofyan Amrabat to Manchester United. He's handed in the transfer request. He's not training. He is literally just waiting to leave the club. Now, there are supposedly other teams interested in him. This is being reported by Manchester Evening News today. There are other Premier League clubs who are apparently trying to sign him as well. So it'll be interesting to see whether we do go for him. I personally think it's a no-brainer. £12 million for a 27-year-old specialist CDM. I think you have to do that deal. I see no reason why we shouldn't. Obviously, people really want Manuel Ugarte, and I do as well. But what happens if the Manuel Ugarte deal doesn't go through? What happens if PSG keep insisting on 50 million? What do we do then? We keep Casemiro? I don't want to do that. If it was me and I was Dan Ashworth, I would just actively push Casemiro out of the club and then bring in Amrabat as his replacement. I know Amrabat's not world class, but he's I think he's better at this stage in his career than what Casemiro is at the moment. But you can let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Should United sign Amrabat for 12 million? Always like to see what other United fans have to say. I'm going to wrap the video up here. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll be back at 6 p.m. for a live show. Please make sure to smash a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all a bit later. Bye for now.